Welcome to the third and final day of the three-part series of headphone amplifiers / headphone amp DACs. I'm your host, me, and we are going to now talk about the Aune B1s, which is a portable Class A amplifier. If you don't know what Class A is, I'll give you a real brief, terrible description that I'm sure people who actually know like the logistics of Class A will yell at me for. But when you put on a modern amplifier, like in a receiver or any of these, it only pulls power when it needs to. So if there's nothing playing, it'll run really efficiently and cool and calm. And then when sound happens, it immediately ramps up and it gives you sound and it works fine. What Class A is you, as soon as you turn that amp on, it's outputting the full amplification power all the fucking time. Doesn't matter if it's silence, doesn't matter if it's nothing, fuck, all the time. Which means it's super inefficient. That's why audiophiles love it. Audiophiles love things that are super inefficient. This unit will get hot. And the benefits, the supposed benefits of Class A is, whereas another amp will ramp its power up and down and change and be efficient, Class A is just all the time. So any little minute detail and fucking thing that, you know, a Class AB might miss, or a Class D, is just there all the time. It's fucking full tilt, all tilt, tits, tilt, tits, straight up. So this unit has 4 buttons. Let's look at it. This is the battery indicator, which blinks 5 times if it's full, and if I hit it, it blinks 5 times because it's full. Green LED, by the way. Bottom is your charge port, not a USB DAC. This doesn't have it. I love the design of this. It's a metal case with like a little lip on either side of this, so it doesn't just fall off. Like these other ones are the exact opposite, where there's like a rounded edge. Well, they took the rounded edge and they undid it, and they gave you like a crown on either side of this. So you got a good way to hold it. This side has power switch, which is main power, then Class A plus and minus, and then gain plus and minus on this side. So there's both a Class A plus and minus and a gain plus and minus. The top has the line in. There's your headphone out. Here's your volume knob, which I love. I'm going to say love. I was going to say like. I wasn't sure if I was going to say love. I'll say love. Because it's like a cap sitting right there, and you could slide your fingers up the side, and it's just perfect. The angle, it doesn't have to be straight like a lot of these straight knobs. It just doesn't feel like, oh, it's like turning the top of the nicest thing of toothpaste you've ever fucking adjusted. You get these little windows which actually show the circuitry for the individual channels, which there's an LED that'll turn on when I turn it on. The back has this faux like leather. It's rubberized. It's rubber. It's probably better if it's rubber. It'll last longer if it's rubber. And it adds just a little bit of softness. It's not like, ooh, plush, but I do like it. And on the silver unit, I should probably point this out. I will link both in the description, because the black one of these on Amazon is $272. That's a bit of money. And the silver one is $199. Prime shipped with red inserts, which is, I actually really like the way that one looks. One guy complained that it doesn't have the power, and we'll talk about the power in a second, because you got to remember something about Class A. Is usually, like if I was considering buying the Emotiva amps for my living room, those things are Class A. They're Class AB up to 600 watts a channel, like the big monoblock. You want Class A, 60 watts. Class A, unless you're spending a fuck all fortune, is usually less power, just in general. Because since you're turning it up to full tilt all the time, to keep the signal path clean and to not literally light it on fire, you have to lessen the amount of power output. So this does have less power than certainly the equivalent costing amps would. Now, since this is the final day video, I could talk about these as we go along. As far as power goes, these two are pretty much matched. If not, the topping having a little bit more power, but then again, I did not use the balance output on the RHA. And this thing is going to be weak sauce in comparison. But we're not here to talk about power. When you're getting this amp, you're not here to discuss power and if it's like got the most power. You're here to say, oh, but it's Class A. Fine. So what we're going to do is we're going to put in our source first, which I'd highly recommend that. We're going to put in our, I guess we'll start with the 2000Xs, which are my easy to drive set of headphones. We're going to lower the volume. And I don't mind that, like, you have to have something in this to make sound come out. And you have to have something in this to use it as a headphone amp. You need, this is where it plugs in. And I don't mind that this knob is in the middle. It's somehow, this is one of the better designed, like, interfaces. Because you put it in your pocket and you reach down and it's dead center and it's between the wires and you could still turn it from any, like, location, like one finger turns. Yeah, you know about that one finger, don't you? So let's turn it on. It clicks again. We get those green LEDs, one on either side, to show that it's working, and I think those also provide some sort of service internally. I know that when I was reviewing the Quest dial, that's what those, there was a row of LEDs, and they needed a diode in place, so I put a light emitting diode, because why not? It's very pretty, it's very plain, and I have Class A down and gain down and power on. Now there's no warm-up time really, and I will tell you, this thing will cook your pocket if you use it for a half hour. It also has sketchy battery life. Not sketchy battery life like, oh, they manufactured it wrong. When you're running Class A, and if you're running boosted Class A with the positive and you're running on high gain, 4 hours. I've seen reports of 4 hours. I've used it occasionally. I'll put it down, I'll pick it up, and I've had it die once. So it did feel like I've used other items where I just pick it up and I use it for a week. And this one I used maybe 2-3 times, and it was like, and then it died. So there is that fact, that matter of fact. Now these are easy to drive headphones. We have the gain down and we have Class A down. Now Class A positive negative, I'm not quite sure, because it doesn't actually increase the volume as much as I would say. Like the gain is definitely a volume increase. But the Class A negative and positive, what that changes is the distortion threshold. Now let me explain what this means. Are we playing? We've got a good song. Is it a bad song? I don't know. Let's turn it up. Bad song. Monogatari soundtrack. Makes perfect sense. However, it will be blocked in Japan. Sorry. Oh, all down. Separation is... There is a very, very fine quality to this amp compared to like the brute force of anything else in this table. Now, if I put the Class A is down, that's gonna get loud. Hold on. It's already, I think, a little bit warmer. Like, there's no bass boost, there's no treble adjustment. It's not like any of these. Each one of these has a bass boost, or that has full EQ, bass boost, bass boost. You guys have bass boost. Yeah, you have bass boost. You have bass boost. I'll talk about these for a split second when we're done, because these are going in the yard sale. It sounds different than another amp. It sounds different than the other amps I just reviewed. The other amps sound cleaner. Honestly, they sound like they're boosting the... It almost sounds like the treble is just straight up cleaner. But when you get the right song on the right set of headphones, and I don't know if these are using them properly, you just sort of this, you're like, oh, what is it doing with this song right here? So I'm going to switch. I need to find a track that's like decent volume. Hold on. Devilman Crybaby, Outkast. Again, the Beatles. It's like I'm haunted by the Beatles. Pearl Jam's not great. Eminem is great. Watch Zeos change tracks with 45 minutes. Yay! Alright, that's Sleep Now in the Fire by Audio Slave. Alright, it's not bad. So I'm just going to switch to the Class A gain. And all that does, like, I'd almost be said that it didn't even happen. Switching that from Class A negative to Class A positive felt like I woke something up like 10 more percent. Just 10 more percent. It wasn't actually a volume increase, but it felt like the way that things are being represented changed, just slightly. Sort of like the bass boost on this NX4, where it's like a DSP coming on, but there's nothing digital about this. This is a pure analog device. purely analog. You people that are hardcore audiophiles, nipples, you all just got super erect. You're like, did he just say it's a pure analog device? And I'm like, yeah, it's a pure analog device. And like, ah, oh, Westworld. Here we go. Perfect. Freeze all motor functions, my favorite track. It's like it wakes up the mid bass. That's the best way I could say. It's like Class A Plus wakes up the mid bass. It just, I know what it's gonna do. It's gonna murder the battery faster, but that's what it's doing. It just, you start getting like when you have it off, it's like, oh yeah, this amp, it's got a little bit more flavor to it than a normal amp. Then you put that on, and it's like, oh, someone keeps pouring ranch dressing all over my fucking music. And it's the best thing you've ever experienced, like butter and ranch dressing. I want to listen to the rest of this song with this amplifier on these headphones. Now these are easy to drive headphones, so I don't even have it on high gain. I don't need it. Like that's maxed out and it's getting loud. It's a oh. Yeah, there's like a reverberance in the warmth. I'm gonna use some bullshit words, ready? The reverberance in the warmth is far greater. That doesn't make any sense, but I said it because that's what this thing made me say. All right? It tells me what to say because I listen to it. I love the way this works. Only with the Class A Plus. Class A minus is sort of like different, but not better. Class A Plus, you get just this little bit of sound change, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, that's why I spent $200 on this thing. All right, let's change headphones. It's like a weird, I wonder if it has a coping factor with just, it doesn't like when you play at full tilt, so I would probably, if I was going to play with, even with those, I would probably put it on high gain. But if you don't have to, don't. IEMs would be great on this, because IEMs don't draw anything, and you can leave it on low gain. Even those still want a little more. So let's go back to this. Let's shut this Class A off. Class A to negative. Same song still playing. All right, maximum, down, down. These are barely fucking playing audio. These are not, let's back this track. I really like this track. These are barely working with low gain. Let's put on the Class A Plus. Definitely the mid-range comes up. The mid-range, mid-bass. It's like a warmth fucking switch, but they're not loud enough. So now, distortion. I have a tilt maximum. Maximum tilt plus Class A plus gain. This is playing. It's not even that loud a part of the song, which is why I'm able to turn it all the way up. Now, distortion, distortion, distortion. And it goes all the way to there. The distortion starts happening there. Now, be mindful of this. The T60 RPs are on this table to test the hardest possible problem of portability. And both of these handle it just fine. These have power for fucking days. You're not looking for power for days from this amplifier. Even though it's a strict amplifier, you're looking for Class A. You're looking for something that's going to pull out the most minute details, which you have to include a DAC, or you're DACing from your phone. So you may want to invest in a small stack at this point. But if you've got a portable player, something that's extra tiny, you got this thing, or you've got this thing, and you just want to include a, I want to say better amplifier, but more unique amplification. This is what you'll do. You'll blue tack literally this onto there, right there, and then you'll run a wire from. Actually, you could probably do it that way, and then run a little short jumper like that, and then all of a sudden you've got, you know, this thing has amazing DAC. I can't believe this ended up on Massdrop for $60. And you got this little bastard. You could do that, or you could do my idea where I always take like a Bluetooth receiver, like the FIO BTR3, and I'll stick that on here. And all of a sudden I've got a Class A Bluetooth receiving amp DAC. But I mean, for now, we're just going to look at this on total. This is not what you're carrying around with you. Do not attempt to take T50s, T20s, T60 RPs out in the wild and use an Aune B1s headphone amp. It's not worth the effort. Let's grab something else while we're here. Something else while we're here. Something that might work. What do I have? What haven't I used? Ooh, no. Ooh, ships. No. Cows. Creative of our own lives. Yes, they're as good as everyone fucking says they are. Shut up. I'll get to the review. Get over here. Get over here. Little plastic bastards. Oh, that sound. I could completely see these being used. And could I see them being used on a $200+ amp? Hell yeah, I can. Ooh, high gain's too much gain. This is a love-hate amp. I have a thing for Aune. I have a thing for Aune. Aune, however, my own stack here is like the foundation of my review desk. I had the X1S, and it was so good I didn't need anything else. Then I got the X7S, and that added balance, and it was a little more powerful, and that's Class A. And it adds that little bit more that I was looking for that I wasn't getting from the X1S. But the DAC in that is so good, I kept it to feed this. And then over there, where, you know, I'm done working for the day and it's just time to sit back and chill and actually listen for the hours and hours and hours I have to listen to all these headphones. Aune S7 is my headphone amp of choice. $500 fucking giant brick of aluminum with a $1,300 DAC sitting on top of it. I like Aune. I am biased towards Aune. This is a bias review because I like them as a company. I didn't get to review their portable player that DMS loaned me because he needed it back for RMAF. But I'll tell you this much, it didn't have enough power. And I'll tell you this much, this gets real fucky when you ask it to put out a lot of power. If you don't need to, if you've got easy to drive headphones, which is strange because why the fuck would I want a headphone amp if I have easy to drive headphones? And that's because Class A. You'll know if you want this. I'm not going to sell it to you and say, oh, yeah, power anything you got. Fucking anything you got. No, it is slightly underpowered, or it sounds like it's not underpowered, but then it distorts. Because Class A is a fucking bitch, and they're very brave for putting this out, because it does, you can get some amazing separation and warmth. It's almost like carrying around tubes in your pocket. But for the cost, for $200, it's like, I'm not selling it. I'm going to keep this around, keep it charged, and I'm going to use it. And I'm going to keep looking until I find the perfect pairing of it. The perfect pairing. Is it CALs? Is it 2000Xs? It's not these. It wants me to love it so bad. I love the build and the feel and the glass and I love it. But it lacks in grunt. And that's Class A's fault. If it was just a headphone amplifier, though, we wouldn't have anything to talk about. I wouldn't even have thought of buying it. I got headphone amplifiers, but none of them are Class A. And when you get Class A, you get just something special about the way it sounds. Period. You get to say also that you have a Class A headphone amplifier in your pocket. Ha 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 ha. But now, alright, the wrap up. This is the final video. Let's talk about these for a split second. I have used them. I have tested them. This one's like $28, and this one's like $37, I think. And I literally bought them because I saw this cable, and I went, wow, look at that. That's a really nice auxiliary cable. It goes to just like a normal one on the end. But look, it's got like machined metal and then a spring. I'll buy this. I'll review it, and I'll settle in a yard sale. So here's the deal with these two cheapo amps before I move on to the wrap up with this. They're cheapo amps. Both of them do their jobs. Both of them push relatively loudly, louder than the Aune, but the topping, as far as cleanliness goes, you're spending $30, $40 on an amp. You're getting more than your phone can put out for sure. Like, you don't have to worry, but none of these have a DAC. Charging port on the bottom. This one has the power switch on the bottom, and it turns on a blue LED. This one has the power switch on the top, and it turns on a red LED. Alright, so they're completely different designs. Completely. What else does this one have? This one does not have a bass boost. I thought they both had bass boosts. Now this one has power on the bottom and then bass boost on the top. I really actually, some of these have like the most incredible knob feel. This one's okay. Hold on. This one is okay. It's got a decent knob. You could see, you could pull it off. It's just, you know, we're in the realm of cheap right now, boys and girls. The realm of cheap. So we'll put that back on. But for what it, oh, if you push it down all the way, it scrapes as it turns. So you got to lift it up just a little bit. You can probably fix that by shoving some blue tack in there, because that's my fix-all for everything. So just keep it up. The switch is just too fucking high on this. It just sticks up. Like, I didn't know you could even get switches that stuck up that high. It feels like it's going to break off. It's sharp and it's pointy, and it's not my favorite of the group. It does, however, have two LEDs, one there and one on the bottom for charging, because it's also red. That one's cloudy. That one's a flashlight. Like, you could literally just see it everywhere. Jesus. But at least it's red. Sound quality, I couldn't pick them apart. They just sound like better than no amps. And this one's got a really, really, really quality feeling knob compared to that one. Doesn't pull out like that one. I don't ever pull out. Line in, headphone out. Power on the bottom instead of power on the top, but no bass boost. And it's a more square design. Literally, these will be in the yard sale. If you want to spend $5 to join the Patreon and bid on either one of these for $3, I will sell them to you. Here, look, they come in their own little packaging. This one came in like that. Neotech shitty packaging, and that's an Agtech. So you can get the Neotech or the Agtech. Tech spelled differently, but the same. It's the Ha1. Bullshit. I know what the Ha1 is, you bastards. You're not that. They're cute. They're cute little amps. I'm glad they're here. I brought out the FIO Q5, which is the Bluetooth one that I reviewed already, for comparison's sake, because if any of these had Bluetooth receivers in them, then I would have put them in another review. Let's take the Bluetooth receiver out of this one for a second. How does it compare? Because you could hook up USB. It's a USB DAC. You could line in. It has balanced. It has a changeable thing out. It's got line out. It's got optical and coaxial and line in. I'd probably take the Q5 over the RHA. This sharp metal bothers me, and the fact that the balance is a balance that you can't actually use, I'd take this because it's going to have similar power, has a balance you can use. This wins over the RHA, and it's not even in this fucking review. It just wins. Now, this was the real stunner. These are the winners here today. The Aune, I've already explained. The whole review is that. Pick the Aune if you want. If you want to try some Class A on the go, you have to understand it's not going to run everything, but it is going to add something to what you got going on. And again, depending on how good the DAC is you're feeding it with, I'm feeding with a $250 fucking desktop DAC, so your phone's not going to output that sort of quality. So you got to keep that in mind. You're going to lose a little bit of quality because there's no DAC built in, and it's going to distort. So it's a buyer beware, but oh my God, do I love the look and feel and the way the switches are flat. Again, I'm biased towards Aune. I love Aune's products, but I'm warning you that I'm being biased towards Aune's products, and I love Aune's products. This thing is the fucking shocker. This thing right here, because I usually don't like topping gear. Topping has always disappointed me with some way, with the sound or the way of the functionality, but there's nothing I have to complain about this at all. I love the 2 ports in the bottom, so you could charge it and run it. I love the fact that you can grab it like that. You're not hitting any buttons on the side, just like the FIO. The FIO is like my favorite thing. Everyone knows the Q1 Mark II is my favorite thing. So here it is, slightly bigger, a little bit, again, it's the slightest bit heavier and more powerful. Lacking in balance, which for this sort of, like, it was a miracle that the $100 one had balance in the first place, and it got you more power. But now you don't need the more power, and you can run it on everything because 3.5mm. This is the surprise of the fucking review. I love this. It even comes with a high-res audio sticker, which means absolutely bupkis. That's right, fucking bupkis. $160, well worth. Well worth for portable on the go. And if you can't, or you don't need it, or you just want something smaller and lighter and your headphones aren't impossible to drive, the FIO for $100. And then if you're going up, heavier duty, boom, you get the FIO Q5. Don't bother with any of the other ones. Just get the one with the Bluetooth thing in it and try that, because the fact that you don't have to wire this to your phone makes it so much better. And then I again buy it. It's actually still warm, and I turned it off how long ago. And it's just above room temperature because I wasn't running it that hard. Keep that battery fresh. And then the RHA, fucking solid attempt. This thing is like 90% there. The volume knob, I like the like, it's unique. Look, you click it on, it blinks, it tells you when it's ready to go, and now it's on. That will also, by the way, turn from white to red at 30% power left, and then flashing red under 10%. Which I wish it had more steps. I kind of want to know when my shit's at 50%, not 30. Because that means, like, if it sees it's at 30, it's done. You might as well just be dead already. It's got so many good design characteristics going for it. But it's heavy. It's thick. 2 C's. I think the knobs, like the bass boost and everything, are an okay idea. I don't think you need that much sort of adjustment. I don't know. I don't want to say don't buy this because it's still a quality piece. It's just that I'm going to bleed. I'm going to bleed from that. That's a fatal flaw in the design is this fucking thing. Take this off, literally remove these, and then it's probably fine. You'll just accidentally hit the button. You'll accidentally switch the gain, which will be the problem. And the useless balance connector. I wish they were all using this, but something like the top, would that even fit? On the topping, they wouldn't even fit in the chassis. So that's never gonna be mainstream. They want to make smaller, lighter amps. So the RHA gets like a nod, but it's an expensive nod. The Q1 remains like the $100 portable. I want something, even if you're using it on your desk, Q1 is like, it's so smooth and clicky. The topping is the new boy on the block. I really just spent. You want more power than the FIO? $60 more. It's the exact same fucking form factor. And then if you're going up, and you keep going up, this, or I cannot deny my X Duo. It was my pick when I did the DAC amps a long time ago. But this is basically a desktop amp. Let's just face it. Look at the size of it. Like, it makes the RHA look like a fucking anemic little girl. It's thicker, it's longer, it's squarer, it's got a screen on it. It's got the 1/4 inch. But I literally brought this to the last LAN I went to. This was my desktop fucking DAC amp. I brought this thing. And you can get that Bluetooth module for it, or you can do auxiliary in and out, or you can do digital in, or you could charge it, or you could be fucking coaxial or device hookup, and 3 levels of input and bass boost and 3 levels of gain like the RHA. And then it's got filter adjustments. So this just happens to be a desktop amp DAC that has been minimized slightly, and they put a battery in it. So if you don't care about that, I'd still go with one of those, just for shits and giggles. And then these 2 things I bought for again, more shits and giggles. Give me a second. My goddamn sister's being a bitch. Yes. You enjoying this? Thank you for staying here for 3 days worth of this in a row. Do you like the format? Do you like 3 in a row? Like, I might do a day space before the next one, or I might just run right to the next video, try to see if I can get the YouTube algorithm to work. The wallpapers are available in the description. If you want to support this channel and get me to be able to buy things, I bought that. No, that was sent to me, but I bought that, bought those, bought a couple of those things there. If you want to support the channel, Patreon is in the upper right and in the description. You also get access to all these reviews early, as many days or weeks as I can. And you get to bid on things that I don't want anymore, need more. I'm keeping these 2, even though I bought them. And I'm going to sell the little one. And there's other things coming up in the yard sale I have to really part with. C93 Dark Apples, things like that. It's old speakers that I've replaced. And you also, if you're $10 a month, you get into a special private luxury chat where I will answer your questions and comments and help you to set up like directly. So there's that. So tell me what you think about the 3 days in a row. Did it kill you? Is your brain exploding? Is this one too long? Should I make the wrap up a 4th video? That was the discussion. And I don't think so. I think as long as I talked about the last thing as the shortest thing and I can wrap up in there, it's fine. There will still be long videos. I'm not doing 9 days of portable players. I could literally do 9 portable player days. Fine. Check out the links. Links to everything in every video. Links to wallpapers. Maybe I'll link to all 3 days. Shut up! God. Fuck. Okay. I'm done. Thank you. Good night. It's Sunday. I'm streaming. Goodbye.